Happy New Year, Feral listeners, and welcome to Season 2 of Effing It Up. We would like to extend a very warm thank you to our returning listeners and an overly enthusiastic welcome to our new ones. This is the season of pilots. For those who are unfamiliar with the term, pilots in terms of television refers to the very first episode of a TV show that is made and then pitched to major networks and testing audiences to see whether the show will be successful. We will be watching through pilots of iconic TV shows and discussing whether these first episodes defined the course of the show or had to be majorly corrected for the show to succeed. Our thesis for this season is, just because it's a good show doesn't mean it has a good pilot. To kick things off, Laurel and I watched the pilot episode of one of the most iconic sitcoms in television history, Friends. Does this pilot stick the landing, or does it crash and burn to the ground? Let's get started with Season 2 of Effing It Up. Welcome back, audience. We made it. We're in the new digs. This is our brand new studio, i.e. Maya's apartment. Do not fondle the blinds on my window.
They're Venetian. I like an exotic blind, okay?
Would you stop ogling the fixtures in my apartment?
Well, I've fixed my attention on them.
You are being so inappropriate. This is the last time I feed you biscuits before we do a shoot. Alright, guys. We have a new way of doing things for this season. For the season of pilots, we are doing pass-fail for our grading system. Because the whole point of the pilot thesis is that it either set up the show really well or it had to be changed. So we're just going to look at every pilot from the point of view of did it succeed in setting up the show in the long run. So going forward, our 4 categories that we're going to be talking about for each pilot that we watch is going to be, we're going to talk about the plot, how well does this show engage the audience and set the tone for the rest of the series, characters, do we care about the characters and want to see where their stories go, atmosphere, is the setting and time, place of the story unique or is it overdone, and the last category, number 4, is just going to be other. So we're going to talk about unique elements, things we love, and was this pilot a game changer for the direction of television? And all of these categories are worth 25 points. So we'll calculate everything at the end and see what number we get. I'm sure Laurel will just give me a number from her heart, as usual, and I would expect nothing less. All right. Laurel, let's go back and hear more about your history with Friends. You said that you're not a sitcom girl.
I don't watch a lot of sitcoms, because I like through lines. There are 3 things I like. I like an overarching sort of plot line, mystery,
yes,
which sitcoms usually don't have. I like intrigue, which I guess kind of ties in. We'll count it as 2 points. I like an overarching plot with mystery or whatever. Yeah. Conspiracies are my favorite. And I like character growth, which most sitcoms don't have a lot of. I think that's why I like Parks and Rec, because it actually does have character growth.
It's true.
And
it's true.
I think The Office probably also slots into that. That being said, I still don't sit down and watch The Office or Parks and Rec unless I'm with someone.
Yeah, it's a social show.
Yeah, that's, for me, I'm more interested if I'm watching with someone and then we can laugh at the funny stuff together.
Yeah.
But, it's not, I don't sit down and binge watch. So I've never actually really watched either of those shows through.
Yeah.
And Friends didn't really appeal to me.
I wonder why.
It's just, it's not really like, it's not like I think it's bad or anything, it just didn't check my boxes,
Yeah.
Not the overarching plot, not the character growth, no spies, no robots, no aliens, no stuff I like.
So. Really, it was a total loss for Laura.
Total loss for me. It's literally the exact opposite of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and so...
Yeah.
The best show ever.
Yeah, we're going to be watching that pilot at some point.
Yeah.
Which I've never watched any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So we'll be doing like a reverse thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my history with Friends. What's your history with Friends? Do you have any?
I mean, I have watched through the whole thing, I would say, once or twice. Nowhere near the levels of, like, affection that I have for, like, The Office or Parks and Rec. Like, I think I was just really bored the one year, and it came on Netflix, and I said, okay, let's give it a go. But I had not seen, like, any episodes apart from, like, clips on TikTok for a while. So it was kind of weird sitting down and watching the full first episode and being like, wow, I thought it ended, like, 10 minutes earlier than when it did. It just kind of kept going.
Interesting you say that, because for me I was like, it's not very much resolution.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we'll talk about that when we talk about plot, unless we're already talking about plot.
I was going to say, should we just jump right into plot?
Yeah, let's jump into plot.
Yeah, tell me about your plot notes.
I just thought, so kind of in the first episode, okay, I'm not going to remember all their names. Which one moves in, calls off the wedding?
Rachel.
Okay. See, I'm really showing that I don't know. I know most of the characters' names, which just because it's part of cultural identity, but anyway, so Rachel moves into the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
She called off to her wedding because she's not in love with the guy. She's apparently a rich girl. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But, and then the friends just kind of let her, and they talk, and Monica is talking about this guy that she's got the hots for.
Yeah.
And then he, like, feeds her a line, and she finds out he was lying, and then she's mad about it.
Yes.
And that's kind of the plot of the first episode. And yet, here's what I thought was really interesting. After she discovers he lied to her, there's zero conversation between them. Like, normally you would have at least, like, she says something to him.
Yeah.
But there's no interaction with them after she, like, writes him off.
Yeah.
Really weird choice, I thought. Like, clearly the actor was there. It's not like he never showed up on screen.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't an invisible character.
It was, like, a lot of loose threads.
It was just weird. She stomps on his watch, but, like...
Yeah.
There's no real, like, emotional resolution to that, which I was like, that's... Are they going to follow up on that storyline later? I don't know, because I haven't watched the show. Oh, no.
No,
okay.
that is the
okay.
that is the last you see of Paul the wine guy.
Okay, Paul the wine guy, that's it, yes. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I thought that was weird. I wouldn't have written it that way. But... What about you? What did you think of the plot?
It's kind of, it's helpful for me having watched the show because I can see everything they set up and how it paid off. I was looking for things that I liked as opposed to things I disliked,
mm-hmm.
but I thought there were a lot of, like, very interesting parallels. Like, you have Ross announce that he's getting his divorce. He does the thing where he's like, I just want to get married again. Rachel walks into her wedding dress. I also noticed that they really did set up Ross and Rachel as sort of the main characters,
mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. It's an ensemble cast, but they made sure in that first episode that Ross and Rachel were going to be the emotional points of the entire series. Which, if you know me, you know I hate Ross and Rachel as a couple, so that is devastating.
I didn't actually know that.
Devastating to me. I hate Ross so much. I'm like, I'm glad your wife left you for a woman. I'm glad. I think that's exactly what you deserve.
That's funny because, like, having only seen the little bit that I have seen, I thought he was one of the funnier characters in the cast.
Having watched he is the whiniest character.
I mean, he was whiny in episode 1, but
yes.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Yes, but it just gets worse. Like, imagine that for 8 seasons
you'd get tired.
Why is my boy playing with a Barbie?
Oh, gosh.
But anyway, like, I like how they set it up immediately, though. Mm-hmm. Like, in that first episode, you know that there's going to be...
an endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were seeding for a follow-through line, which is, like, what we talked about. Does it set the tone, and does it... Yeah, they were setting stuff up. You could tell they were setting stuff up, because there was also... You assumed that he was probably going to have some more interactions with his former wife.
Yeah.
He was married, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you figured there would be some fallout from that. And I did start to watch episode 2, so I was like, oh, I did not know that was going to happen. I got halfway through episode 2, and then I was like, all right.
I don't have no memory of what happens in episode 2.
She's like, I'm pregnant.
Yes.
And
right.
me and my girlfriend are going to raise the baby. I'm like, how long have you had this girlfriend? Because, like, is she really...
Yeah.
She's the primary parent in your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's... What? How long were you seeing her before you split up with him? I'm confused.
Which really goes to show you, though, how bad of a parent Ross is if a random girlfriend of 1 or 2 months is a better option.
Like, I would rather have her be my child's dad than his actual dad. Wanna tell me what you thought about the characters?
I would love to tell you what I thought about the characters. Yeah, sorry. I just read my note because I like kind of kept my notes in of like, oh right, do we care about the characters and want to see where their stories go? So I wrote, apart from Ross, they're all incredibly likable. The established personalities remain remarkably consistent, except for Joey. Joey, as the series goes along, gets so much dumber.
I remember people saying that about him, and like they found it annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually love dumb characters played for laughs, but...
Yeah, but he's... Joey has a soft spot in my heart.
Well, I was going to say, it seems like they were setting him up to be kind of like the bad boy, like Brooklyn boy, kind of like...
And then they said,
classic.
but what if he was a himbo?
Yeah, it seemed like they wanted him to be like he stepped out of Grease or something. Like, that's who they wanted him to be.
Yes, and that...
Heartthrob.
Really did not happen
character.
Because he was meant to be dumb as a sack of bricks. Chandler being rest in peace to Matt Perry. What a talented
He's
man.
the only reason I've ever seen any bit of Friends, because every once in a while, periodically, Google like Chandler compilations. He's literally the only character I care about. I think he is hilarious.
That is a testament to the performance too.
It's so true because like so many of his lines, like I've seen a lot of his lines and only his lines. So many of his lines aren't even funny if you take them apart from the delivery.
Yes.
Like if you look at just the line on paper, it's like that's not a joke.
Yeah.
But when he says them, it is just the indignation he's able to infuse into a single syllable is just astonishing. Yeah. His talent just
Well, like in the pilot episode too, when Russell's like, I just want to get married, and Rachel comes in her wedding dress, and he goes, and I just won $1 million, and I'm like, that shouldn't be funny. It's really not funny, but something
he's funny.
He's so funny.
My thoughts on the characters is that they introduced a lot at once, like. And I already had, because it's such a part of our social consciousness, a fairly, like, good idea of who the characters were. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously I knew who Chandler was. I knew that the names Ross and Rachel were, like, a thing.
Yep.
Although I wouldn't really have known who Rachel was, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank on Ross's sister's name right
now.
Monica, yeah. So, like, I kind of knew the characters, Phoebe and all that. But, like... If I hadn't had that background, I would have been so lost, I think.
But, like, who are these people?
Yeah, they just really throw them all in there at once. Yeah. It's a lot. So it's just a good thing they did focus on sort of the Ross and Rachel, whatever
like,
that was.
Whatever emotional connection was there. Because I think...
Yeah. They're just agreeing with us.
They're just agreeing with us.
But I'll say for one thing that I do think the chemistry of the cast totally works. Like, they do feel like friends.
It's honestly incredible.
Lives up to the name of the show. Like, the scene... I'll be honest, I didn't actually laugh a lot during the pilot for what's supposed to be a comedy, quote-unquote comedy.
I didn't either, but...
I'm like, this is not terribly funny, sorry. But that scene where they're all just watching the TV and they're chanting, push her down the stairs. Highlight. That was one of my top moments. Anyway, that was just my thought on the characters, is that there were a lot of them. I really only cared about Chandler. Mostly just because Matthew Perry is hilarious. Bless him. But yeah, I was like, I don't actually really care about what happens with Ross and Rachel. I don't really care about Monica and the pizza guy or the wine guy. Wine guy.
I will say, I agree with you, especially as someone who hates Ross and Rachel as a couple, but I know for a broader audience watching that, I was like, if I knew nothing about this show, the hook, line, and sinker would be the immediate setup of the will they, won't they for Ross and Rachel, the star-crossed lovers.
I find it hard to root for a woman that doesn't know how to talk into a telephone. And this was the 90s. That's all they had. They didn't have cell phones.
Wait, are you
Did you see that? The mouthpiece was way back here, like under her jaw. Like, Rachel, you're a moron. No wonder your parents are cutting off. It's not because of the wedding. It's because they just had enough of you.
Because you don't know how to hold a damn
You've
telephone.
been having an entire conversation and they can't hear a word you're saying.
And then she's yelling at her dad, "No, Daddy, I don't want you to buy me a purse."
We gave Bella a hard time for the ketchup, but like, Bella looks perfectly functional compared to that.
But do you want to talk about sort of the atmosphere of the show?
Yeah, I would say, well, one of our questions is it unique? And I really wish I had a better understanding of the context the show was released into, the 90s.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't say I've watched a lot of 90s shows other than, like, Lizzie McGuire. I'm not sure that's the best reference point. I didn't watch a ton of TV growing up, so, like, I don't know. I'm guessing it was unique. Like, what's your take on it as Miss Film Studies?
Well, I think as someone who was also born in the 90s, as you also were.
Yeah. But I was, sheltered.
Yeah.
Not to insinuate you were, and perhaps you also were sheltered.
No, not in the same way my dear Mennonite friend was.
Right. You had a TV, perhaps.
I did have a TV. I think Friends is kind of like the ultimate idealized version of the 90s that people look back on. Like young people living in New York City with high-paying jobs.
How high-paying?
High-paying enough to be able to afford the unachievable apartments in the New York rent, even in the 90s.
Yeah.
Even in the 90s.
I've heard people complain
affordable.
about that before, but even watching the pilot, I was like, she doesn't have a job. How is she gonna... But anyway, beside the point.
She's like, I work as a waitress. I'm like, oh, yes, you'll make tons of money to afford rent in this
she's
economy.
kind of beautiful, so maybe she will.
She's very beautiful. Okay, so let's just jump into, like, what were the top things that you enjoyed in the pilot? Just as we're wrapping up. Like, what really just jumped out to you when you're thinking about...
Top 3. Chandler, the theme song, the friends' bloodlust as they shouted, push her down the stairs. Easily my top 3. How about you, Maya? How about you, girl? Give me like a top 12.
Top 12? Are you kidding me? There's no top 12 in that. I don't know. I would say I loved the costuming. I think that the style and like the outfits really captured like the best parts of the 90s, especially since we're in like the revitalization of the 90s fashion trends right now. So it's like fun seeing them done really well and really like, in a very charming way.
And authentically 90s, not,
Yeah, not someone trying...
rose-colored glasses 90s.
Yes, like, there was honestly, like, the most fashionable parts of the 90s were portrayed in that show. Honestly, I love all the characters. There is something very likable about all of them, except Ross.
I was wondering if you were gonna leave him in there with all the likable characters. Glad that you stayed true to yourself.
I always will, especially when it comes to that man and his monkey. Don't even get me started.
I actually thought he was like one of the better actors on the show.
He's a good actor. It's not David Schwimmer hate at all. David Schwimmer is an incredible actor, but Ross as a character is the absolute scum of the earth. To me, Ross is the quintessential nice guy of like, I'm so nice. What? I've just been in love with Rachel why isn't she in love with me? I love her. We were on a break! It's like, oh.
I mean,
God, okay.
Having not seen the rest of the show, I'm just gonna nod.
Yeah, you just agree with me, Laura. Agree with me.
I'm sure you're right. You're right.
You better agree with me.
Send help. That's only 2. You've still got...
I still got 1 more.
12 more to go. Wait, what
did
I say?
You said 12. I'm doing 3
you got 10
because
more to
I
go.
gave you I asked you for your top 3.
Okay. Well,
I said the costuming.
Characters minus Ross.
Yeah, characters minus Ross.
She can't even think of a third one, guys.
Chandler Bing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know he's one of the characters.
But he stands apart.
Let's be honest, he's the standout.
That show wouldn't have survived without him, probably.
Absolutely not.
My introduction to that actor was actually in 17 Again with Zac Efron. Yeah. I thought he was quite funny in there, and I had no idea who he was. He just looked like the middle-aged character that he was supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
But I was like, this guy's funny.
Damn funny.
Very, yes. Oh, delightful. When you first started working at the coffee shop, before I really knew you, but I knew your vibes were great.
Oh, okay. I was like, this is the part where you say, actually, I hated you.
No, I was like, this Maya's hilarious. You ordered some food and, it would, like, print out in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen, and I looked at your name, and I was like, Mia. And the person I was with was like, that's so mean. And I was like, no, she'd be cool with it, I promise. I just thought it was hilarious. Anyway, that stuck with me because I was unintentionally the mean girl that day, and I didn't mean to be that. I just thought it was being hilarious.
Meow.
Meow.
Actually, a lot of people call me that.
I mean, really? Dang it, I'm not original.
It's okay. It only
But do they do it seriously or in jest, as I did?
In jest, usually.
Dang it. It'd be funnier if they said it seriously. If they actually thought your name was Meow.
Meow.
Hey, Meow, it's nice to meet you. Anyway,
I love that. I don't think you're a mean girl at all.
Oh, good. It kind of scarred me because she was like, that's so mean. And I was like, I didn't mean to be.
Sounds like she didn't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, right. But now, learning that many other people have said that, I'm not sure I do either. So, I want to be original, darn it. I'll keep working on that. I'll think of something worse to call
I like you better than everybody else who's ever
good.
said that to me.
Oh, good. Well, I didn't technically say it to you, so.
You said it behind my back, which is better.
I said it behind your back.
That's true friendship. It's
It
true
meant to
friendship
be.
when you can be mean behind someone's back and you trust that it's okay if it gets back to them.
I was like, I promise it would be funny. She would be cool. Well, what a good Friends story to end on when we were talking about the show Friends.
Of our
friendship
was
was destined to be
beautiful and highly desirable friendship that really does seem like something out of a television series.
Y'all wish you were us. She cooked for me tonight. She made biscuits out of a tube. Why are you looking at me like that? I feel like you made that weird. Out of a Pillsbury.
I know, it was just I was about to open my mouth and be like, well, actually, I didn't make them. It came out of a can, and then you beat me too.
Yeah, no, I couldn't let you stand up. I couldn't let you be honest for yourself and come off as the person with integrity. I needed to make sure I threw you under the bus. Because that's what true friends do.
That is what true friends do. We make each other better by putting each other down. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the premiere episode of Season 2. Next episode, we'll be taking a little bit of a different turn. We'll be headed to the lovely and really bizarre and unhinged town of Riverdale, and we will be watching the pilot episode of Riverdale, and we will give you all of our thoughts and feelings and emotions on that. But anyway,
that wholesome little town.
That wholesome little town. Definitely wasn't a show that they had to end for the sanity of all the actors involved.
Too late. I love you guys, but probably too late.
It's just too late. Anyway,
right.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you at episode 2.
Bye.
Bye!